to Strength Reversed. It's Amy. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is, I believe, the third installment of Light Seers Sundays, where I go through the cards in the Light Seers deck and kind of compare it to the Muse deck, which I'm trying to get to know. And I'm going to do the spread that is in Tarot for Light Seers book. And today we are talking about the Tower. So I've been thinking about the Tower. I know we've all had Tower moments, and certainly I've had a big Tower moment, and this year has been the aftermath of that. But there are a couple of ways that I really have thought about looking at the Tower and where the energy of the Tower really lies, because I think the big energy of destruction here, this is a card of change, but this destructive, upsetting energy is not really where the energy of this card lies. And this is one of those things where I have a bunch of thoughts in my head running around, and hopefully I can get all of them out. And I've been reviewing not just the Light Seers guidebook and the Muse Tarot guidebook, but also this card in particular inspired me to go through a lot of tarot books and really hone what I think of the Tower, because you know, Tower moments are jarring, they're upsetting, sometimes we don't see them coming. I think when we look back at the Tower moment, we really maybe can see the hints and clues that Spirit gave us that maybe we didn't want to see when we were in the thick of it. So before I talk about the Tower, or as I talk about the Tower, really this card, the Four of Wands, is where this energy starts. And this is from the Rider-Waite deck. So this is one of those stage cards, and the any four is very stable. And imagine these people creating a foundation, creating something new outside of the city, creating this new structure. Really, the Four of Wands is kind of the foundation of this structure. And so you can imagine setting out, it's new, and it might be a marriage, it might be a going off to college, it might be your first apartment, it might be a new job, or whatever you're starting out where you're building some sort of foundation. The cycle has come to a point where you've done the work to get to this place, kind of setting off on your own, or something that's about you. And then you can imagine these two people building this structure brick by brick over the years. And it's just not going to last forever. It's almost, I think, before anyone gets married, a meditation on these two cards is good, right? What do we want this to look like? And we know that we're going to change. The environment's going to change, and this is not going to last forever in this current state. At some point, we're going to have to reinvent something. Life happens. But this feels good, and when you are used to something, or it's status quo, or it feels safe, and you feel secure in that, it's really difficult to let that go. And sometimes we get to a point where the universe helps us out. And this seems like maybe a slap in the face by the universe, but of course, the Tower brings up this idea of appreciation for the experience, and it's really difficult in the Tower moment to appreciate that experience. But I think what helps is having faith at that time that the experience is not always going to be like that. It's going to transform. with time, you can trust and have faith that in time their appreciation will come, and you will find the little gold nuggets hidden in the rubble of this tower. So starting there it is kind of my jumping off point. And this tower, I was reading in one of my books about the purpose of towers initially, which was to connect above and below, the spirit and matter. And when this book described the tower being crowned and people not recognizing an authority beyond themselves. And so we have this lightning strike, and lightning symbolizes that divine energy. And this is Jung and Tarot, which is a very dense book. You can't read it all in one sitting. It's the cure for insomnia kind of thing, but a lot of good information. And they describe to be struck by lightning means symbolically to be touched by the hand of God. And then thinking about the next cards in the major arcana, which would be the star, the moon, and the sun, which are the heavenly illuminators. And the information that we can get after we get this really difficult, what seems like harsh and severe energy striking our tower, maybe helping it crumble to the ground, and then kind of sitting in that place with that divine energy. It's like Rumi says, you know, the wound is where the light enters. And this is called, this spread that I'm doing is called Light in the Unexpected. And I really think that the tower is like the wound where the light enters. And that's where I want to refocus the energy of the tower when this card comes up. When I've done reading for others, a lot of times I get this energy when the card comes up that it almost is like a reversed energy. I think the universe does give us the opportunity to make the change ourselves. And I'm not talking about in a punishment sort of way, like the tower comes because you didn't do it right. It's not that. Sometimes we need a little push because we get so comfortable in that Four of Wands energy that we just, you know, like looking for a new job is hard and it takes a lot of energy and it sucks. And so sometimes it's better to just, it feels easier to stay in a crappy situation because it's like the devil, you know, right? And so sometimes when I read for people, I really get this strong energy of this wanting to happen, this trying to happen, but they're frantically running around trying to spackle all of the cracks instead of letting that tower fall. And that's understandable. It's not, you know, to beat ourselves up. And so there are a couple of images that kept coming up as I was looking at the tower. And one is this energy of a seed, like the hard shell of the seed being cracked open, and then, you know, these two people falling out of this tower and kind of being planted. Like the acorn cracks open and then whatever's inside that's going to make another tree, it's like the opportunity to get planted, and that idea of appreciation. And Chrisanne writes about here's the tower in the Light Seers deck, and she writes about the tree still being alive, but something being released, like the energy of the tree is released when it's cracked open. And she also talks about, when we have nuts here too, these are hazelnuts, which I did not know were in Celtic mythology associated with wisdom, knowledge, and inspiration. I did not know that, so I thought that was cool. But she talks about this image of the squirrel looking up and seeing all these sparks coming down and just thinking it was beautiful. Like the sparks are beautiful, you know? I mean, I can imagine that there is sometimes beauty in something like this. Lightning is beautiful, right? But it, you know, other things happen. But just that appreciation of trying to get to the point in that tower moment where you can be grateful in the end that it happened. And sometimes that takes years, but being open to being grateful that that happened, because that's where all the good stuff is. When you have that, that's what faith is, knowing that in this crap, you know, and not in a toxic positivity way, because the crap is crap. It sucks. It's awful. It is awful to deal with. It's awful to sit in. But, you know, imagine, most people say that in the most difficult times, that's where they got the greatest lessons. That's where they learned the most and sort of moved forward the most. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, but such is life. You know, things happen and we learn from it, hopefully. And some people maybe don't learn from it, and this shit happens again and again and again. But just being open to the life being released from the tower where it was almost a prisoner. Rapunzel. I love this image on the Muse Tarot of the tower. I mean, we have the lightning and that divine energy, but the tower almost being something that the bottom falling out from underneath you. But really now you're free. You're in this place of freedom, because I started thinking about the energy of the tower not being so much in the building being raised, but what comes after that. And I decided that the tower was kind of the cosmic general contractor. Like, yes, we're going to raise this building, but the more important work is what structure we're going to build on this ground now. So, and then I just started thinking, if you've ever seen The Money Pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long, the general contractor, the supervisor's like, you know, the foundation was good, so we could build something even better. And when you have a tower moment and everything kind of falls away, then we get to the star, and it's sort of like, well, what do I want this to look like? And I can now rebuild. And that's really that butterfly that is on many tower cards, or that, you know, well, not the butterfly, sorry, I was thinking of the death card. But there's something new to be had. Even, you know, the building's on fire. There's great. There's something new to be had there. And it's okay to be sad and be angry that it's this difficult, and that now I'm in this place where I have to start over or rebuild or shift gears or learn something. But that energy really is a gift in the end. Although I would never tell someone going through an experience, a tower experience, that it's good and it's a gift. They're not ready to hear that probably. And so that's what the energy that came through. And I knew all of this going into the tower. You know, it's sudden, it's shocking, it's unexpected change, it's big change. But the lightning literally is enlightenment. It can be an aha moment, and sometimes it can do something for us that we would not normally do on our own. And if we can sit with it and kind of make friends with it and accept that that's where we are, time will allow us to grab the gifts out of it. And we can be like in an empowering place where we are rebuilding ourselves the way we want to. And we're taking the things that we don't need anymore, that are not useful, that are just dead weight, and we're getting rid of those things and only adding things of value. And that's the beauty of the tower. We're seeking those little gold nuggets. Okay, that's my tower rant. And I'm sure there's more that I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have said that. So let me do this spread. And there, she has Chris Ann in the book, she has a kind of a mantra, I guess, for each of the cards. And the tower mantra is, in chaos, I move toward the brightest light. And I like the falling muse card. Just, it almost looks like this person, well, whoever this is falling down into water. And now it's kind of like looking for the light to get back up again, which I think came up in, it's like resurfacing. Okay. Anyway, let's do this spread. So there are 4 cards, plus the tower in the middle, and we'll see how this goes. And it's getting overcast out, so I'm hoping there's enough light. Let me turn this around. The spread for the tower is called Light in the Unexpected, a spread to help navigate the unexpected. And the tower is in the middle. Card number 2 is Hidden Beauty, a card to help with unexpected change. Card 3 is Personal Growth, lessons and positive changes revealed in this tower moment. Card 4 is Amongst the Rubble, previously hidden opportunities that are now available to me. And card 5 is New Provisions, actions to take and potential to make as I rebuild my solid foundation. So I'm going to just set the tower cards here. I have to back this up a little. In the middle. And then I'll pull the cards in the Light Seers. So card number 2 is Hidden Beauty. I'm going to pull all 4 of these. So we have Hidden Beauty, Personal Growth, Amongst the Rubble, and New Provisions. A card to help with unexpected change. Well, that's a good one. I'm really liking the idea of aces being looked at as those seeds that come out of the tower when you crack it open, something to be planted. And the Ace of Cups, of course, is something that can be watered and fed, kind of a new layer of ourselves. It's very emotional, but it's also, through tower moments comes a new opportunity to learn how to connect with yourself and love yourself and be really kind to yourself. And that's very difficult, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to say all people, but during times of great towery times, I'm very hard on myself, and I think I should be here and I should be there and I should be able to get through it and I shouldn't need help and I should just be able to get over this. And to really stop and sit and think, what's going on in my heart of hearts is a real gift to yourself. And here we have the Ace of Emotions in the Muse Tarot. Taking the time to kind of, when the bottom falls out of life, taking the time to kind of, you splash down in the unconscious and taking a moment to just kind of float there and rest there and not flail around like you're drowning and try to immediately get out of this water. But to sink into it a little bit is very difficult, but I think in the end, really helpful. Number 3 is personal growth, lessons, and positive changes revealed in the Tower moment. The Hanged Man. Don't we love that card? And that is another energy that I find after the initial wallop of the Tower, there's this just, you know, it's almost like I want to hurry up and process it, and then what's next? Like, get me out of here. And that sitting in it and stewing in it, I mean, it really sucks, but it is pretty necessary. And we have this beautiful illumination and realization, kind of looking down in a new way, from a new perspective of what life is going to look like now. And sometimes we can even get excited about the fact that we're starting something new, or that we have this opportunity to make things the way we want them. And it feels odd to get excited. But when we get to a place of appreciation for that Tower moment and realizing that really was for the best, we can see that. And here is the Muse. Here's my eyeball that I love so much. And she's kind of hanging out, and it's almost become relaxing. I don't know if you were a kid, if you had like a swing set in your backyard and you always had that one bar on the side that you can do skin the cat or just hang there. And it's kind of cool. And you can just hang above the spiky parts and kind of soak in this new understanding and new wisdom that's coming at you. Amongst the rubble, previously hidden opportunities that are now available. So it's been cracked open, and what's inside? The Page of Swords. That's kind of a cool card. You know, this is the opportunity that you didn't even know was there, which a lot of times opens up to us, or at least to me, after a Tower moment, because you're forced to kind of take care of yourself and figure out what lights my fire, and what do I need to know, and what do I want to learn. And you're forced to learn a bunch of things whether or not you want to. And having all of these opportunities is really cool. And sometimes when you're out of that status quo, there's even that motivation, and being forced to look at something, maybe being forced to ask for help, to be forced to admit that there are some things you don't know, to be forced to learn some things that you never had to do on your own before. And sometimes that leads us to something we never would have considered before, and I really like that. Here is the Page of Inspiration. No, wait, that's the wrong suit. It is Voices. Page of Voices. Okay. I like that she's putting her glasses on. It's like new focus. You know, seeing new things, seeing more clearly sometimes, which is, I know, difficult to do. None of this can happen in the initial moments of the Tower, okay? This is with time. And then we have new provisions, actions to take and potential to make as I rebuild my solid foundation. And I love an action card. Okay, and then we have the moon, which is one of those, you know, luminaries that comes up, a new way to look. If the tower doesn't make you face what's under there, I don't know what will. Just do it. You know you want to. And here we have that image of being underwater again and looking toward the light. And that's what came up in the last video about the moon, is that finding which way is up by looking toward the light that the tower released. And that's really beautiful. And the tower can force you to look in all those nooks and crannies and in those dark spaces that you don't want to see. Sometimes you're just forced to, you know, make a choice. You know, what's good, what's bad? Should I keep this person in my life or should I not keep this person in my life? Which way do I want to go? And sometimes the only way you can see out of it when the tower comes up is to trust, you know, to trust your intuition, or to say a prayer and let the divine in and pay attention to that part of ourselves. And that's another gift out of the tower, is really kind of getting that connection strengthened. Okay. It's raining out now, and so it got dark in my room and I didn't feel like putting my camera back in the tripod. But I'm going to pull another card, just whatever the next major that I haven't done in the deck pops up first. That's what I'm going to do for next time. Oh, and Temperance was on the bottom, so I'll be doing the Temperance card hopefully next week on Sunday. And make sure you like and subscribe. See you then.